Hello, this is Jeff. I wanted to go over my OctoPrint monitor case that I designed and uploaded to Thingiverse. That's THINGIVERSE.com. For those who are not familiar with it, I'm going to put a link down in the area below the video here to the project if you're interested. First of all, I have several different designs. I recently made this one. It's a smaller case for the Mini. I'm not really sure what the model is. All I know is, I've seen it called D1 Mini, but I've seen it called Wemos, and I've seen the bigger one called Wemos, and I guess that's the brand name, but I don't know. But I tell you, this has no screw holes, very little to work with on mounting, and these pinholes go right up to the edge, so it doesn't give you much room to work with there either. So what I did is I made a little divot here along the edge, and I put little things sticking out on the front to hold each side, but this side has a reset button, so that side won't get anything. This other side has one, so it does kind of hold it down on that side. And on the bottom, I have screw holes, and I got a messy desk here. This will screw onto it, the two screw holes there, and it will go across and hold the back end of it down. And I put 3 little bumps on one side to give it a little extra pushing force against the board, just in case. It's like a 1/2 millimeter, so it's not much. It won't do any damage. There are more than one option. There's more than one option for assembling the wires. The pins that I need, I've bent down to 45 degrees. You can see that there's nothing under that clip on this side like I was talking about, but over here there is. And it's really snug in there. It took me a minute to really get it down in place, and once I put that piece of plastic across there, it'll hold the back side down. And on both of the cases I've designed, or the cases for both boards that I have, I left some space below, a little more than 1/4 inch, and that's so because the antenna for the Wi-Fi is right here, and if you have it against something metal, which I will, because I like to have magnets on mine so I can stick it onto something. Of course, I don't normally keep it on my lamp, but anyway, it'd be up against something metal, and you want to give it some room for the signal to get in and out, so I left a little extra space there. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to solder. I have some small jumpers here. I'm just going to like cut it in half and solder one end to the pins and the other end to my display. Now the display comes with a set of straight pins, but you know, pardon my desk. Anyway, they come with these little straight pins, but I decided that I was going to use some of my 90-degree pins, and I put them in not as far down as I could go because I didn't want them to be too close to the surface mount parts. I wanted to give it some room to put the plugs on. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause and go ahead and solder those on and see how it looks from there. Okay, I also did this on this one. Instead of using 90-degree pins, I just used my needle nose pliers and just bent these down. I don't go all the way down, but you know, don't want to stress it too much. And on here, on the pins that I bent, I soldered. But another thing you can do is just get the wire and strip it, and then just bend it over into the shape of a J or whatever, and then solder it to the pins that are, you know, sticking straight up. And then just use some cutters, you know, something like these to clip off the excess. And it's not too hard. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. I'm gonna stick that into here. And I also need to put that piece of going across in there. Now, the instructions I have on Thingiverse gives a list of the screws that I use and the lengths and diameters. They're all M2 screws. I believe the ones that hold that down in there are M2 by 6 millimeter. The ones that hold, and they're self-tapping, by the way. And of course, self-tapping means that they come to a point. Now, the ones that hold the display in are a screw with a nut. Such a nut. And these are M2 by 8, I believe. No, yeah, 8. And it's just long enough to go through the cover and the display, and have just enough left over to grab the nut. Alright, get your mind out together. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this the rest of the way, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I have this in here. See, I couldn't have been much better on those things. Now, one thing you need to do is screw in like these two, and then these two. The top first, and then the bottom, or the bottom first and then the top, because there are supports on the inside, just like on this one. See those little supports, and if you, for instance, here, go to screw that in, go to tighten them down. If you tighten it too much, then it will pivot like that. It'll pivot on the little support. So you either need to do both the top first, then the bottoms, or just get them all, not even finger tight, but just until it starts, just until, you know, the nut touches the top of the board. So, because you don't want to put any stress on the board or on the case. So anyhow, let's go ahead and pause and get the rest of it assembled. But first, I want to tell you to make double sure that the wiring is right. You see, as you're facing the front, it says VCC is the far left, and then ground, then SCL, then SDA. I'm thinking maybe there used to be some that were different, or that there still are some that are different. But as this diagram shows that comes with it, it's showing ground first and then VCC. So make sure you get those right. Make triple sure. And I'm speaking from experience, because I have smoked one or two of these things because of that. So always make triple sure that your display matches the wires you're putting to it. I went ahead and used green and yellow like that diagram does, so I can know at a glance what I'm doing. So anyway, just a word to the wise on that. Be right back. Okie dokie, I am back. Got those set up here. I was actually editing video. I needed to make a slight change in something before I finished editing. Pardon. I wanted to show you a couple of things in the Arduino IDE program. If you bring up the project that we're working on here, there's a tab up top that says settings.h, and about the middle. Scroll down to the bottom. It's not a very big document. There's a couple of things to keep in mind here if you're having any issues. Your display needs a memory address to access, and on most of them it's 0x3c. On some of them it will be 3D. Woo, 3D. And you may have a board that has something even different, but you can check online, do some Googling, and find out if your board has possibly something other than those two. So anyway, that's where you would make that change. And this is line 81. With any other updates with this, if they update this file any, that may not be line 81 anymore. Also, if you're using a 1.3 inch display, which is the bottom one, the top one is a 0.96 inch display. Anyway, if you're using the bigger one, the 1.3, you can remove that. The two slashes tell the program that this line is nothing but text, nothing but comment. So if you remove that, then it becomes a command, or data to compile. Another thing is on the far left one, printer monitor. There's two things. Here we go. You see how on the top one, the screen updates by scrolling down. I changed that just now. The default is scrolling left like the bottom one's showing. And what you can do is on line 208 on the first thing, you can change slide underscore down to slide underscore left, right, top, or down. And also, if by chance you need the display flipped, if you need to flip your display, that is that other line mentions flipping display, but I'm not sure where the actual command is. Let me do a search for it real quick. I think I did a search a second ago. Here we go. It's line 222 on this one. Connections at top of the display, which is saying it's just mentioning that these 4 pins make the top of the display and not the bottom. If you add 2 slashes to that line at the beginning, then it will flip your display, making the pins at the bottom. So that's the way that works. So that's it. I hope you enjoy it. I had a good time doing this. I really enjoyed designing and building, assembling. I've got other stuff like this little camera. It's got big old LED flashes on the top. And I made a cat. Haven't figured out how to make it animate yet. So anyway. Well, good luck everybody. I'd appreciate any input you got. Get on thingiverse.com and look for my project. Everything Everything I post has JeffCo in the name, JEFFCO, in case you want to look me up that way. But I'd appreciate any kind of input you have for me. This is the coding and all that is a project from somebody called Chrome, QROME, and there will be links to hit the original documentation and project in my Thingiverse file. Thanks. See you later.